Hey everybody, today's lesson is going to be a quick follow-up to the one that we worked on yesterday in class, but I want to go over some similarities and differences between the two religions that you guys worked on, Buddhism. Okay, first things first, similarities. Well, to begin with, they both began in the same region, right? They both began on the Indian subcontinent. Remember, subcontinent meaning area, could be both literally beneath, like a submarine, but also an area that is just a little bit less in size. Okay, so this is India that we're talking about, and the subcontinent also includes some of the surrounding areas. You guys can learn more a little bit about those when you get into more modern times. But both Hinduism and Buddhism, just think of them, they began in India. Hinduism is easy to remember in that respect, and that's still the dominant religion, but Buddhism sometimes gets forgotten about. Another one, and these ones have to do with their beliefs. Both are big practicers of nonviolence. Now, for anyone that's ever met Buddhists, that's kind of easy to remember. You think of Buddhist monks, many of them that take vows of nonviolence, and they'll seclude themselves in monasteries, and some of them won't even, harm bugs and so forth. But for Hindus, this can be a very important belief as well. Hindus call this belief ahisma, do no harm, nonviolence, and it applies to all living beings, including animals. It's why many strict practicing Hindus become vegetarians. They will not kill animals, especially cows. Cows are a sacred animal to Hindus. They won't eat any type of beef, and if you go to certain Indian villages, even today, you'll see cows roaming freely through the streets. A way to remember this belief in nonviolence is probably the most prominent Hindu and Indian person of the 20th century was Mahatma Gandhi. Very, very famous world figure. He was a leader of the Indian independence movement to break away from the British Empire in the 1930s and 40s. And he was a very, very strict believer in nonviolence. His beliefs in nonviolence heavily influenced other civil rights leaders, most notably Martin Luther King in the United States in the 1960s. A couple of other beliefs. Karma, they both believe in the idea that what goes around comes around, and reincarnation, the idea that your soul comes back as someone or something else. But the logistics of it when it comes to reincarnation are a little bit different. Okay, differences. Remember this caste system that we talked about yesterday, this very, very strict and rigid social order that Hindus define themselves by? They all get put within these, and there's no moving up or down except through reincarnation. Well, Buddhists reject that. Buddhists say that no, we're all spiritual equals. That the idea that some people are spiritually better or worse than others is rejected by the Buddha and by Buddhists today. So that's a very, very important one. No caste system in Buddhism. Another one. Hindus have a lot of gods. As I said, those are the three main ones that we talked about yesterday, but it gets broken down into different categories, and you have hundreds and hundreds of gods in Hinduism. They also have very elaborate rituals. Here's a fire ritual at a Hindu wedding. Well, Buddhists say no to both of those. In fact, Buddhism is one of those religions that can be looked at as being possibly monotheistic of one God, or possibly having no God at all. The Buddha in the earliest teachings did not place himself out to be a God. So they certainly reject the idea of having hundreds of gods, of being polytheistic, and is a much simplified religion. Buddha said remember, what was the cause of suffering according to Buddha? Desire for things. And so he said, in order to do that, follow the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Paths, you need to simplify things. And that applied for religion as well. So he said that we don't need all of the fancy priests and the rituals and all of that other type of stuff. It just, a lot of times is just a simple matter of meditating and kind of finding that inner peace within yourself and the universe. Okay, so that was just a very quick one that I wanted to go over with the similarities and differences. There are some other ones, obviously, if you want to get more complex, that you guys can look up on your own, and we'll be doing that in a follow-up assignment for tomorrow.